yeah, we got some teasers that got released since our last episode, and so we
Hmm.
have to talk about those. Um, so yeah, the teasers were mostly like most of the shots that we get to see are of the chariot race, and so like a quick note on the chariot race is there was one actress who like nobody knew what role she was going to be in, and like Shannon's sleuthing was that she's done a lot of like stunt work, right?
Yeah, her name's Sage Linder. She's. Oh, thanks, Isa, for saying my hair looks nice. I'm so glad that it's short. I was about to lose my mind with it being too long. Jesus Christ, my hair is way too thick for it to have long hair in this summertime. But
Mhm.
so the actress is her name's Sage Linder, and she's the one that is thankful for one of my favorite like Becky interactions of all time, where somebody was like, "I think she's playing Circe," and Becky just replied, "No." That still makes me laugh just like thinking about it. But yeah, so people saw her somehow. I don't know how. I don't know how they ever even figured out that she was like going to be on the show. I think that was one of those things where they were reading like the IMDb
Mhm.
or something, or I don't know. But either way, they thought she was somebody. And when I followed her on Instagram, a lot of her videos were her being like a professional dancer.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, that's actually like she's really good. Like that takes actually a lot of like effort. And so I was like, oh, maybe I thought that she might be somebody at like Cersei's Island that might do like stunt kind of stuff
Mhm.
because of that. And like, yeah, she is doing stunt kind of stuff, but she's one of the other Athena people. She's like the other person in the chariot with Annabeth during the chariot
Yes.
race. And so, yeah, she is doing stunts. It's just a slightly different place I thought she would be doing stunts in for some reason.
Yeah,
um,
she's a not like a brand new character that's supposed to be a daughter of Athena from what
mhm.
people have said.
Yeah, and she's older, so that's fun that there's somebody a little bit older than Annabeth for a little while
Yeah.
in the Athena cabin. But either way, in the chariot race scene with Annabeth, you can see that she has a big owl
Hmm.
in the middle of her thing, which is just like nice little like details like that. And
Yeah.
it's of course fun to see those little the scenes of the chariot race, knowing what happens because there's like a couple parts when there's this one scene where Annabeth she's like standing there and you see her like turn her head like you do when you're like thinking, and you know that that's her like either seeing like some of like those damn birds whose names I can never
Yeah.
remember showing up, or her like watching Percy do something and just being like, what is he doing? Oh yeah, the Comic-Con stuff is their panel will be 2 weeks from tomorrow,
Hmm.
July 24th. It'll be in Hall H at like 11 a.m. So that'll be nice for people that can go because then they can just like leave after that for Percy
Hmm.
Jackson people and do whatever the heck they
Yeah.
want for the rest of Comic Con. Um, and they do like they have like a signing, like an autograph session later on if you can go. And they also have what they're calling the Percy Jackson experience, which they said like you something about how you can like see through the mist, and then also about how it like helps you figure out who your godly parent is and things like that, which is just
That's
like
pretty cool.
a fun like thing to do, which is always fun to see like what those things are. But either way, they announced all this stuff because like obviously they're going to post a lot more things during Comic Con.
Hmm.
Yeah, the kids are all. Isa's asking about the kids going. Every child,
Yeah.
and even not technically children, are going. Walker, Leah, Arian, Charlie, Dior, and Daniel, all of the like the named like main regular characters for season 2 are going, along with John Steinberg, Craig Silverstein, and Dan Schatz, who are all the executive producers on the show. Yeah, it's the thing from the panel at Comic Con that I'm also excited about is that the person moderating the panel is Timothy Simons, who is Tantalus.
Yes.
And I was like, that is perfect. That man is so funny.
Hmm.
Oh my god, the clips of him from Veep made me like hysterically laugh last summer when I watched them there. He is so funny.
Yeah.
And so him being the panel host is A plus. Thank you.
Don't math me, Lloyd. Math is a plot invented by the Chinese to make smart Americans feel dumb.
Jonah.
They introduced last year that Tyson was Daniel during the panel, and so they're probably that rhymed. They're probably going to do something similar in that way with pick whatever character you want
Yeah.
from Titan's Curse this year, since those are happening at the same these are happening at the same time. Like, this is why I think it's so funny that people legitimately are complaining about there's nothing going. Do you understand that a month from yesterday, Titan's Curse is going to start filming? And so we're going to get like casting announcements and like filming pictures and all of that stuff all over again, while there is still new things coming out about Sea of Monsters at the same time. Like, we're going to have to like prioritize which one we
Yes.
want to talk about, because they're both going to be overlapping sometimes. Like, it's so funny that people think that they're like bored. What do you mean you're bored? There's so many things going on. Like, just like literally wait 2 weeks until they go to Comic-Con, where they can like drop everything at once. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they dropped a trailer like right before they go,
Hmm.
because they tend to do stuff like that, to drop like something right before they go to a big convention thing like that, um, so that they can go and like see it or whatever, have something for everybody to talk about already, and then drop more things. Like last year, they talked about who are the sisters again in the cab.
The Gray sisters.
Yeah, they posted they announced it at the panel and posted it online at the same time
Hmm.
who was playing the Gray sisters, and then they posted about Tyson at like the same time too. But the other things from that trailer, they showed a picture of Circe or Cece,
Hmm.
which was really fun just to see her. The set behind her looks really cool.
Yeah.
So that was like the main thing that was really fun. And what else was there? I'm
There
trying to think of stuff
was.
before we go into like the big, like our like fun little. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess our first like theory that immediately got like verified by Becky, like thanks for doing that, was that one, there's a picture of somebody and
Hmm.
you see them from like the back, and there's a giant like sea monster in front of them.
Hmm.
And I saw that and I was like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
And
I could barely see the hordes, and so I'm like, I
yeah,
think that's Grover.
yeah, and Mandy was like, "Oh, I think that's Grover," and I'm like, "Oh, that actually makes sense that it would be Grover, because I'm pretty sure that I remember when we read Sea of Monsters last year that Percy talks about having like nightmares about Grover on some quest before anything even happens, like when he's still at
Hmm.
home and everything." And then and I was like, okay, so that's probably Grover. And that other scene where you see like Percy's face, where he's like looking up at something, which is, you would imagine like the monster thing.
Yeah.
The like, there's like I don't know what to call it. It's not a boat, but the thing that is like behind him is the same thing in the shot of like Grover. So you can imagine that that's like him in his dreams, since the way that the show tends to show Percy having nightmares like that is like literally like putting him
Hmm.
like inside the dream itself, instead of it just being like him watching it and remembering it when he woke up. And
Yeah.
so that's probably what that scene is. And I like that idea of them showing Grover being in like the same place that they're in the third episode, being
Hmm.
attacked by like the same Hydra, most likely
Yeah.
in the same episode, in episode 3 likely, because he would like, he probably like stopped at that place. He probably was like, at least saw Cersei's island. If he didn't like stop there himself, he would have stopped. He would have had to go on by the sirens. He
Hmm.
would have had to do all the things that they did, and it's just one of those things that happened, but the book is from Percy's perspective, so you just don't have time to really think about it. And
Yeah.
like the same day that they posted that stuff, Becky posted like just like a silly like gif that she made herself, where she said like the consensus song doesn't always work on everything, and
Yeah.
posted that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so that's definitely Grover." Like, we were pretty sure at that point, but thanks for making it like super duper obvious that that's Grover. Um, and then other than that, the main stuff that we were talking about was stuff to do with Luke.
Yeah.
So one thing, there's a Instagram account that has been posting like fun theories that people are thinking about.
Hmm.
And the one theory that they posted is there's a picture, or there's a tiny scene, what you think is like Kronos. Like I saw that and I was like, oh, hi, Grandpa.
Hmm.
Like that's probably Kronos. And it's him just like standing in like it looks like the Montauk cabin doorway
Doorway. Yeah.
with like his creepy little flashlight. And it's what he looked like in the nightmare stuff that Percy had about him in the underworld when he was trying to freak him out in season 1. But somebody in that on that Instagram brought up that they were wondering if that wasn't Kronos, if that was Luke. And I
Hmm.
was like looking at it again and I was like, there is like a normal looking hand
Yeah.
in that. So it might it might be Luke and it makes sense if it would be, because the one thing from season 2 like filming that I always think about is they did this big scene that was like the very end
Hmm.
of like the very end scene. Like nobody could see what they were doing because they were just like all anyone could see was them running back and forth on like this marina where they were filming because everything else was like blocked off and stuff.
Hmm.
But everyone was there, including Luke and all of the other main cast members, and Sally was there. And
Yeah.
everyone was like, why is Sally there? And so this scene of seemingly possibly Luke at the Montauk cabin would kind of like make sense for what they've said, that things that happen at the end of the season are going to be more dark to
Hmm.
match like the darker tone in
Yeah.
Titan's Curse. And it's just one of those things that like, yeah, Luke would. And it's also a thing that Sea of Monsters is the one book where Luke is just kind of sitting there for a week waiting for them to come back with the Golden Fleece.
Hmm.
And so I remember the stuff with that book that I really liked every time I read it, which was a lot. I used to read that book a lot when I didn't want to like deal with all the heavy emotional stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's fun about it is that there's this like anxiety induced energy
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And so there's this energy that like they don't know what's going to happen when they come back. They don't know like how camp is doing or what Luke has been doing when they've been gone, because when
Yeah.
they're out there, they're cut off from everything else. And so this is like the one book where Luke could like show up, like steal Sally to try to get Percy to give him the Golden Fleece, like against his will,
Hmm.
and then leave. Oh my goodness. Sorry.
Yeah.
People in our comments are saying that they think that that's not Montauk Cabin. They think it might be the big house, which is like,
Oh, it could be.
it could be. It actually could be. Like
Hmm.
I don't remember that much about what it looks like, but if it matches, then it is, and it definitely could be, because and he would be showing up like a freaking weirdo like that at camp to scare everybody when everyone is gone, and it could just be like, showing him poisoning Thalia's tree,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
because like it's one of the things that's fun about these books is that we know everything that happens, but the TV show has to actually like show it to us.
Hmm.
And so they could always make that like a reveal thing during the season for the kids watching that haven't read the books yet, is that Luke is the one that poisoned her tree, and like literally show him doing it. They could even have Annabeth not want to believe that
Hmm.
he was the one that did it, because she would probably have a hard time believing that. And I'm honestly not sure if she 100% believes it in the actual book itself until they get further along and she's yelling at him about it. And he just like straight up says that he did it
Yeah.
and when they first interact with him. But yeah, it could be even a thing like that of like showing us that no, he actually did this, and especially combined with them showing flashbacks of him with Thalia when they were younger,
Yeah.
it's definitely just one of those things. And just overall, the fact that he's walking around in a giant black cape, like
Yeah.
looking like Kronos, this kind of goes in line with something that I just kind of stumbled into saying in the last episode. We did like this a week ago that I wasn't even trying to think about too much. I just like ended up saying it. But what I was thinking about was like the change that they have Percy, like that Luke tries to recruit him instead of just trying to kill him, and
Hmm.
that Luke is like, come through this portal with me. It's I was just thinking like, so when they get on Luke's ship, Percy is gonna be like put it together probably that like this is where Luke wanted to take me, because
Yeah.
unlike the books, he doesn't just try to kill him. He knows he was trying to convince him to go with him somewhere. And so when they end up on this ship that's named after like Perseus, and they walk around and they find an empty sarcophagus, it doesn't take very much for Percy to figure out like, did you want me to go in there? is this
Yeah.
like is this like where you want it to be? And if he does figure that out, Annabeth's going to be there when he figures that out.
Yeah.
And so they would probably talk about it, and she would probably get mad about that because she wouldn't want to believe that he would want to do that or that he would be capable of doing something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but the other thing, of course, with Luke in this book too, that is that I was saying this to Mandy earlier, that there's this, when you're reading the books, you don't know like what is going on with Luke and why he looks tired and things like that, because they don't fully reveal that until The Last Olympian. But
Hmm.
they could show that a lot earlier on the show because he is being like taken over by Kronos in the second book. Like it's already starting to happen in
Yeah.
the second book. We just don't know that. Like nobody else in the book knows that. and so it's just, that's like the whole thing with it, is that they don't know that, but we could put that together now to
Yeah.
just make it more clear of everything, and show that process happening, especially with Charlie Bushnell is a series regular this season, so they have a chance to show like what that would actually be like.
Hmm.
Like I've been weirdly obsessing about whether Charlie's hair looks different, because somebody was like, "Did Charlie do something different with his hair? Because it looks like it's like weirdly lighter." But they couldn't tell if it was just like the way that pictures look when he went to a premiere, or if
Yeah.
they were like having his hair look lighter to try to show like the signs of him changing because they're about to start filming Titan's Curse. And that is when that stuff becomes more noticeable, where they're like, "Why do you look so tired all the time? You're 20."
Yeah.
And he gets pushed off of a cliff and doesn't die. And so they like, but within like the actual books, like nobody else knows what's going on. Even at the end of Battle of the Labyrinth, Chiron doesn't really understand like what's going on or how Kronos could be in his body. Um, but since this is a TV show and TV shows like to show villains' dastardly plans,
Hmm.
it could be that. And so it's just one of those things of Luke. It's one of the things that's fun about this being a TV show, is that because it was like a children's book, there are certain things that they wouldn't like do, like showing Luke actually show up in the big house looking like Kronos, standing
Yeah.
there with his goddamn like lamp like he had in the last episode. Like when he goes out in like the forest, he's just standing there holding it. Like that's just like a normal thing for a 19-year-old to just have.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's a very easy like parallel there to show him doing that again. And it's just a thing of the danger that he is, of like how do you keep him out of camp when he spent all these years living there.
Hmm.
Um, that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, overlapping the imagery to the point where we are like, is that Kronos or is that Luke? It would be a really interesting choice to do it this early. And so I'm welcoming that as the end of the season, you know?
Mm-hmm. And especially like at the end of the season, if they show him, what is he doing in the big house at the end of the season? What is he doing in the big house? Period. Leave Chiron alone. I will stab you.
Yeah.
Like that's usually where Chiron is. Um, but also there is the point that there is a scene that I'm remembering now from one of the kids just like posting pictures on set, where they were in like the room, like the health room, basically, like the room they go to when they're injured, and everybody was like, when does that happen in Sea of Monsters? Because that doesn't happen in that book. They're never like in there in Sea of Monsters, and so it's one of those things. It like opens up a lot of stuff, and I just love that they put that in a freaking ad.
Yep.
And we just talking about it, just like figured out like, oh, he's not in Montauk, he's at camp. What are you doing at camp?
Yeah.
Like, why are you there? What are you doing, sir? Like, which children are you trying to harm?
All of them.
All of them, all at once.
Yeah.
But that's that. I generally am like really excited about being able to see him be like seen as like a full on villain. And I'm hoping that will stop some of the just ridiculous things that people say about him.
Yeah.
Like, he's not actually a hero. He
Exactly.
didn't actually like, he's really not. He's a horrible person. And I mean, I have said this for a long time, that I thought that the end of the Sea of Monsters would hit people pretty hard, because he is, laughing while he's standing over Percy, and he's like begging him not to kill him, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you anyway. So even just like following the book itself, that would be a lot. But it's also a thing of, if poor little baby Percy is having, like someone just brought up, is he having nightmares about Luke like attacking camp when they're gone?
Oh,
And it's like one of those things of he probably would, and it's also a thing of, how do you know if that's not real? Because it could be real. It could just be his like massive amounts of anxiety.
yeah.
But it also could be real. And it also could have happened already, and they didn't know about it yet because he hasn't been at camp in a year. And it just, overall, like, I'm kind of like stepping in this idea. It also kind of like introduces the idea of like, what if he's been talking to somebody at camp? Because we know that Selena is over at some point shown to be like a spy. And so if he's like walking around at camp at night with his creepy little lantern, looking like a ghost or something in like a Victorian novel, he just looks so dramatic, because that's just Luke. But if he's walking around at camp like that, is he walking around at night like that because he's meeting somebody?
Yeah.
That's very possible, and they don't have to like show us who it is. So I will say that one of the scenes I remember the director of episode 3 and 4, I'm pretty sure, mentioned was he just like offhand on Threads just mentioned that they filmed a scene where they were like talking on the phone, and he was talking about it like from a director perspective of like the different ways that he showed that shot and stuff. And I was like, when do they talk on the phone?
Yeah.
And
Usually it's Iris.
yeah, like in Sea of Monsters, when do they never talk on phones ever, really. But I was just like, who would talk on the phone? And like, yeah, maybe it could be like Percy talking to Sally, because one of the things I thought of was with Percy was when Walker said like he has to like learn in the beginning of the season how to like help take care of Tyson and stuff. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Sally would be the one to like tell him that and like help him with that kind of thing. So it could just be a scene like that, but that would also have happened way before episode 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And so the other thing I thought of was just, maybe it's Luke calling somebody who is like the Allison character or somebody else that he's calling, that is like and it's one of those things that they could show Luke on the phone talking to somebody where everything he's saying gives it away that he knows what's going on and knows things that he shouldn't know about camp or whatever else, without ever having to show us who it is. And then we get to watch all the kids who haven't read the books yet freak out for another 2 seasons before they find out that it's Selena.
Yeah, well,
But
I mean, the other thing is, isn't Chris still at camp in the beginning? Because he's the one that, like, I'm mixing up the movies, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Rodriguez in Sea of Monsters, the movie, is like sitting there and is just like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave now. And everyone's like, okay, drama queen. And it's
Yeah.
just like the most over dramatic, stupid thing in that he like disappears right when the monsters start attacking. And they
Hmm.
even have like, Annabeth in the movies even has a line that's like, oh, everybody's around except for Chris Rodriguez.
Yeah. And then she
So,
says something about Selena when she's on the ship, like Selena being there on
yeah.
the
And
Queen
like, oh yeah,
Andromeda.
she's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, Selena Beauregard told me, da da da. And I'm like, why are you first last naming her this way? My God. God,
Yeah.
that stupid movie. But, no. Selena shouldn't even be there yet. What is going on? I don't even know how to handle. Every time I think about the second movie, I just start screaming inside my head about how
Yeah.
there's a roller coaster on Circe's Island. That there's a theme park on Circe's Island. Like the
Yeah.
and also the fact that you pointed out that they convince themselves that they've trapped Polyphemus in his cave by putting a big rock in front of it, except that Polyphemus is the only thing that can move the rock
Yep. It's why
because he's a
Odysseus couldn't
cyclops.
kill him.
And so I
Why?
guess he
Yeah.
just stays in there because he feels like it.
Apparently.
Because he can get out. Oh my God. But in
Yeah.
the actual books, Chris Rodriguez isn't there anymore. And when they get on the ship,
Hmm.
Luke's ship, they hear him like talking to Luke, and that's when they realize that he's joined Luke.
Yeah.
Um, because I don't think they're like they knew him well. It's one of those things. He's an older kid, so they wouldn't necessarily think that he just like abandoned everybody
Hmm.
if he wasn't around at camp. But yeah, in the books itself, you don't see him until he's actually like already on Luke's side, um,
Yeah.
and is already there. But yeah, I will. I will laugh so hard if everybody has been like having intense mental breakdowns over Selena not being in this season. If they had to plot the entire time of essentially introducing her plot without actually having to show her because
Yeah.
they want to use the money that they have in the ways that would be the most helpful. That
Hmm.
would be so I would laugh so hard. I would laugh for like 20 years
Yeah.
if that happened.
We can have him being on the phone and like we don't know who he's talking to.
Hmm.
Like a
Yeah, you can just be on
one-sided
the
conversation.
yeah, you can just be on the phone. You can like the creepy scene of him with his goddamn lantern at the big house like walking around meeting somebody. You can show like Luke's perspective and leave us screaming about knowing who it is or screaming who is it.
Hmm.
And I know we said this kind of stuff when we reviewed season 1 because the whole plot that they do on season 1 of like who is the traitor and then it ends up being Luke at the end, which surprised everybody. All of the kids who never read the books all thought that it was Annabeth,
Hmm.
because of her like having a secret when they were in Asphodel and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
they already introduced a plot like that of like there being somebody that they can't trust in their midst or whatever. It would be so easy for them to introduce another one of the exact same plot, but just not tell us who it is, and especially because Sea of Monsters is so like fast paced.
Hmm.
Like it's all like a time crunch. Like they have to get through and back to camp in time to save everybody and to save Thalia before her tree dies and all this kind of stuff. They don't have time to like stop and like think about anything.
Yeah.
And so this would be like an entire season of a TV show we could watch where there is scenes of Luke talking to somebody at camp, but they legitimately don't have time to show us who it actually is. And we would like almost like forget about it at a certain point when all the other stuff starts happening. And it
Hmm.
would just be something that you just like can keep in the back of your mind during Titan's Curse when all
Yeah.
these other things start happening and wondering like if the person is still there, what they're telling Luke and what they're not, like if they told him where they were going to be at the school and things like and all that kind of stuff. There's this tiny clip in this other random commercial that's the same sort of commercial but just like a shorter clip that
Hmm.
they put out of Percy like running and he has blood on his like on his chest basically,
Yeah.
and the person who posted it thought that he had the golden fleece, but I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's just Riptide.
It's
Like
just
be,
such a like really short clip that it's
mhm.
hard to see anything really.
But it will say there is a clip also of like an explosion kind of going off And that looks like it's the same place where he's running like that. And if when he's running like that, that's when he's on Luke's ship
Yeah.
at the end when he's trying to get off the freaking ship
Yeah.
after he's like saved by Chiron and stuff after Luke almost kills him. And one thing that was really cool about that is someone that's in my chat right now. They sent me a picture from the graphic novel of Sea of Monsters, like probably over a year ago. And
Hmm.
in the graphic novel, there's a like Percy is back at camp and he has like a big bandage across his chest in like the same place. And the people who posted that were wondering like, "Oh, when does that happen?" And it's like Luke does that.
Hmm.
Like Luke does that to him. He actually like seriously hurts him. Like I feel like people forget about this fact that after they get out, he like Chiron takes them to the Everglades and he has to like give him medicine
Yeah.
and like nectar and stuff to like heal him. But even after he gives him that stuff, he's still injured for the couple days after that. At least in the graphic novel, he's like walking around all bandaged up and stuff,
Hmm.
and it is still kind of like not okay for a while after he gets back home because Luke in that last fight actually does like seriously injure him.
Yeah.
It's not like the fight. I mean, to be fair, the fight the last time he accidentally hit Luke when he wasn't really trying, and Luke hurt him on purpose.
Hmm.
So he's not exactly like above doing that to people.
Yeah.
And in that situation, even if they change like the setup to it of like what they're doing there, like having him say like you have to come on your ship or I'm going to do something to your mom or something like that,
Hmm.
it still is the same kind of dynamic that like Luke has the upper hand. He knows that he does. And
Yeah.
he's like, what if I stand over you laughing while you literally crawl across the floor because I stabbed you in the legs and you can't walk right now?
Hmm.
And so you're like literally crawling across the floor trying to get to your sword, and I'm standing over you laughing, telling you that the last thing you're going to see is your best friend's being eaten by these monsters that I have in front of you that ends up being killed by Chiron.
Hmm.
But it's just like that's such a like a savage scene, and so it has to be something like that. And it was just really satisfying seeing Percy like running like that with that injury in the place that the graphic novel has it in.
Hmm.
And it's just yeah, that's one of those things that just because this is a show geared towards kids doesn't mean they're not going to show Luke doing the things that he canonically does in the books.
Yes.
Like that's not adding anything to what he does in the books. That happens in the books.
Hmm.
Does everybody remember that? Oh my god, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
So the other thing too, we got some more of the Clarisse and Percy fight on the
Yeah.
beach. Yeah, so it's interesting too because in the book it doesn't feel like that big of a deal. Like the beach thing is kind of a passing thing where Clarisse
Mm-hmm.
is on her bullshit, like don't steal my
Mm-hmm.
quest, but then ends up taking them with her. And so I don't know, part of me thinks that they put that in to mirror the Ares fight from
Mm-hmm.
season 1.
Definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if Ares was like, beat me up, beat him up for me, child.
Yeah.
Or her wanting to like prove her worthiness to Ares by doing something like that.
Yeah.
It's also just like a nice sort of thing to show how doing things for the gods just like automatically makes the kids be at like fighting with each other,
Yeah.
because it's also like a thing. I wouldn't be surprised if after that fight is over or like before it even begins, Percy is sitting there like, why are you mad at me?
Mhm.
Like generally like why are you mad at me? Like
Yeah. And with Clarisse, like we've been saying we wanted more scenes that weren't from Percy's perspective for this season. Rick literally said in one of his 20th anniversary interview questions, like Clarisse is a character I wish I would have explored more. There's
mhm,
something about her that's interesting that I didn't touch on enough. So
mhm,
I could totally see him using this show to do that because this is the season she's on a quest and Dior is a season regular. So,
mhm.
yeah.
I love the idea. Like literally the second episode we ever did, I said that I would write Rick Riordan a soliloquy if he makes an entire storyline of Clarice being an angry girl at her very abusive dad and gets to like
Hmm.
show somebody just being like angry like that.
Yeah.
I will still write him a soliloquy if he does that with Clarisse in season 2, and there's a good chance that he does
Yeah.
because of just adding in this fight scene. Not only must have that been like really fun for the
Yeah.
actors to learn and like the fight choreography and things like that and for them to film and such, but it's also just it will be really fun to see them interacting that way and just like it's kind of just like the obvious circumstances of their situations. Like Clarisse is like desperate to prove to Ares and her other siblings at camp that she can do a quest. She's
Hmm.
finally given a quest, literally given it by Tantalus completely in a way that she knows that she's not supposed to go on this quest. She doesn't even
Hmm.
necessarily want to go in the books. They just
Yeah.
like make her go, essentially. And so she has to go. And so then after when she's going, she has to be like act like I'm the best, I'm the baddest bitch that's ever lived. And especially when you think about like how her ship is like made out of what is it made? It's made out
It's
of something that
ironclad, so it's a wooden ship, but it has iron panels.
yeah. And so it's not something that is meant to like actually survive like in
Hmm.
water. It's
In
not
deep water. Yeah.
yeah, it like which is part of the many reasons why it explodes is because it's not something that is meant to like work very well.
Hmm.
One of the other parts we haven't talked about yet is there's a little clip of like Annabeth sitting on the ground, and Percy comes up to her, and he like is leaving his hand out to like tell her. It's like them trying to like, him trying to like make peace with her when they've been arguing for most of the season by that
Hmm.
point. And I'm sure that is Clarissa's ship, and because he's saying like, let's go do the impossible.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure that is her just being like there's no way that this ship is ever going to make it, because I do
Hmm.
remember when we read Sea of Monsters that one of the things about that chapter that I enjoyed is that Percy and Annabeth are just straight up being like, we're never going to make it past Scylla and Charybdis. Like,
Hmm.
this is never going to work. And they are trying to convince Clarisse to try to, like, snake, like, around, like, the Roman way,
Hmm.
around Scylla and Charybdis so that they can, like, get by. But she's like, no, I have to, like, confront them head on because I'm an Aries. Like, yeah, that is what we do as being, like, an Aries moon. And so she doesn't listen to them, and they're basically like begging her to like not do it because they know that the ship isn't going to make it. And so they go into that knowing it's going to be a disaster. They obviously didn't want the ship to explode and to think that everybody died but them and the after
Yeah.
effects of that, but they knew that it wasn't going to work, that it wasn't going to go well. And so that's likely that like little scene that just kind of gives you the idea of what's going on with Clarisse, that she's like trying so hard to prove that she's good enough. And
Hmm.
it's just the overall narrative of Percy Jackson overall is that like you're never going to please the gods.
Yeah.
And that's Clarisse kind of learning it very harshly. And it honestly kind of reminds me of like the fourth episode in season 1 when they go to the arch and Athena is just like, your friend is impertinent because they sent me Medusa's head, so I'm just going to abandon you there
Yeah.
and leave him to like basically jump to his death in order to save your life. But that whole situation was Annabeth learning the same thing,
Yeah.
that her mom is never gonna like be there to help her the way that they want them to be. It doesn't matter how good you are. Annabeth is like the dream demigod child
Hmm.
for Athena or for anyone ever. And so the fact that she wasn't good enough means that legit nobody is good enough. If Annabeth Chase is not good enough to make Athena proud, nobody on planet Earth and other planets would ever be good enough for any of the gods. And it is like a general like abused kid narrative that you never learn that in a way that isn't like just horrible.
Yeah.
And so Clarissa's ship blowing up and her thinking that she thinks that Percy and Annabeth are dead too. When she goes to like the island and talks to Grover, that is definitely going to be like a moment where she's just going to sit there and just be like, what am I what am I doing? Why
Hmm.
was I why was I literally fighting Percy?
Yeah.
Like fighting him. He didn't do anything. Um He didn't actually do anything. Like Hermes basically forces him to leave. At least if they go with how it happens in the book. Either way, Hermes is
Yeah.
probably going to force him to leave, and to
Yeah,
go on the quest
Lin-Manuel
somehow.
Miranda does make an appearance, right?
Hmm?
From what we know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they'll probably keep that.
Walker like literally in an interview last summer literally said, "I'm going to film a scene with Hermes that's really long on Monday." Like,
That's
we're not.
probably them sitting by the at camp on the
Yeah. That's not like putting stuff he literally just said that.
yeah.
Like so you like when he talks in interviews, you don't have to put clues together. He just tells you. He just tells you what's going on. Like one of the things with like people wondering if they're going to move up the date of filming in December because the end of Stranger Things
Uh-huh.
is supposed to come out like right when our season would usually come out. But there was an interview recently with Walker where he literally just said it's gonna come out around Christmas.
All right, Sea Monsters. We're getting it. Merry Christmas. Comes out at Christmas.
Christmas present from me to you.
Like they can't do anything to him. He's Percy Jackson. So he can say that stuff because I'm sure he's tired of keeping every secret in the entire world.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's just funny watching all the other people involved will be like vague and like, oh, maybe this will happen. He's like, no, just it'll come out around Christmas. Goodbye. I'm like, thank you for just like just like going right for what we want. But the other thing to say too, from one of the other, like the first clip that I saw posted at least, because that was honestly hilarious, how that like what day was that? Like Tuesday morning. I'm just like awake, like getting not even at work yet. Nobody else is really awake yet, and I'm just like looking at Instagram, and I'm like, oh, there's like a new 5-second clip. That's cool. And then I go back to Instagram, and there's another one, and then I get another notification. Percy Jackson sent a reel to the Percy series, like when you join like their channel on Instagram, that's the notification I got. Percy Jackson sent a reel to the channel group. Click here to view it. And I was like, Percy? Percy has Instagram? And I was like, however they did that, that was great that they like somehow got the notification to say that. But they just kept getting more as they posted more things, and I was like, "Where is this gonna end?" Like, all it is like all this like clip, all these different like couple-second clips.
Yeah.
But it's still like fun to get a bunch of them all at the same time, which is a very like Disney thing to do.
Yeah.
They usually just drop like everything right before they're doing something, which was them dropping a bunch of stuff right before they said their Comic-Con schedule, because that's just how Disney does stuff. They don't like play games. They just say what they need to say, and then they're done with it. Like, why would I post this stuff when nobody cares? They care now because everybody's talking about Comic-Con. But anyway, the clip of that was things that we already talked about with like the Chariot Race and stuff. But the voiceover of it was Annabeth quoting the prophecy. It was her saying like the hero will do da da da, and it was just like the fact that that's from the scene after Scylla and Charybdis explodes everything, where she's explaining to Percy what the prophecy says, at least most of it, except for the part where he's supposed to get stabbed to death. But that's that scene, and you're just like, oh god. And just the fact that they're using like Leah voiceover in the promotion and posting a lot everywhere all the time. And I'm like, yeah, thank you.
Yes.
It sounds stupid to be like thankful that like Disney is showing their like co-star, the main female character in this entire thing, but considering how Black actors are usually treated, I'm still really happy that they're putting her out there like that. And they're not like doing that thing a lot of productions do where they don't do that, or they like show all the other actors but show them like John Boyega style, of just being like ignored even though he's one of the 2 stars of the entire thing. And it's just like but so I'm glad to see that they're not doing that. And it's just that one scene of Percy going to like help her up when they're on the ship. It like weirdly made me sad because I was like, he's optimistic, and that's right before he thinks Tyson dies.
Yeah.
And so all of that optimism, bye bye. Oh,
Yeah.
and someone was telling me that the quote is, "A hero will become a powerful weapon."
Yeah.
And they showed the clips of him fighting Clarisse and stuff like that. Um, ugh.
Yeah. We know that Percy's progression through the series in general is just him being like sweet, cute little boy too. People think he's a god and are literally afraid of him. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's fun that
And
we
it's
get that.
just, and it is one of those things of he's saying, "Let's go do the impossible," and then the ship blows up. He's taken by Scylla. He like goes unconscious, and then when he wakes up and he thinks that Tyson's dead, that's like the first time that he like explicitly wants to die.
Hmm.
Like he says, like, I wish that I want to just drown, but
Yeah.
I can't, and I wish that I could. That's at least the first time, and he's like, about to be 14. And he's
Yeah.
thinking stuff like that, and people are just like, "Oh, is Percy sad?" I'm like, "Oh my god, I wonder why." But yes, he's sad.
Yeah. The other thing from the Clarice scene again, and I don't think that they necessarily showed more of the people in the background, but once again we kind of get a little confirmation. Her soldier army on her ship, the USS Birmingham, is
Mm,
probably going to be a mixture of fallen soldiers. So I again showed like all the little mini clips to my resident military history person, and he was like, I feel like I see a Confederate, a Revolutionary War like uniform, and a Viking in the background. So that's very mixed timelines. The one thing he did is he like tried to zoom in, and he's like, I wonder if the guns are gonna be accurate. I'm like, I don't know that like Disney cares to that level.
they
I think
might.
Rick might. Rick
Hmm.
gives me, so I feel like Rick poured that weird energy that some boys have of I'm obsessed with war and learning about war history into Annabeth's dad. And
Yep.
like that was him expressing it. I do think Rick cares. Part of the thing, like him having the USS Birmingham at all, is kind of a history nerd thing because not a lot of people know the Civil War had like
Ships.
naval battles. Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was like, "What? Why
Yeah.
would they be on the water?" Okay. But yeah, and Rick is a big history buff.
Hmm.
Oh, and when Sophia just mentioned to me that I forgot that in the first book, after he does the arch, he basically just thinks like it's fine if I die,
Yeah.
because at least these people will be okay. And even in the show, when he's going in the goddamn chair,
Hmm.
he's like literally like verbatim telling Annabeth like you're supposed to go on without me because you're better at this than me. You can just
Hmm.
stay here. And he asked her if she would come back to let him out.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You have to ask." And he's like, "Yeah, I have trauma."
Yep.
He doesn't say that, but that's the answer. But yeah, so he's 12. And like, I mean, I was thinking like that way before that age, actually, but especially by that age. And so I can't even pretend like that doesn't happen for kids to
Yeah.
feel like that at that age, because they definitely do, especially in situations like Percy. I'm just really, all that stuff is like, feels like nothing, but at the same time feels like a lot, because it leaves a lot of places for us to speculate about
Hmm.
all these different characters interacting, because it's like one thing to know that we think these things will happen, but then when you actually start seeing it, it just makes you think about all these other things that they could add in,
Yeah.
which is like always the fun of a show like this, that they're actually like adapting things and changing things a little bit in a way that makes it more interesting, like Luke being in the big house and just
Yeah.
being like, "Hey guys, I'm here." But it generally is like a good idea that if you have a plot about Luke having a mole at camp, which is a big part of the plot of the whole part of the many reasons why Percy is so afraid of him when they go to the Princess Andromeda the first time,
Hmm.
is that he knows everything. Like during that conversation, like Percy's internal monologue is like try not to have a panic attack, basically, is the kind of stuff he's thinking. He's thinking about how terrified he is. He doesn't want to talk, he doesn't want to move, and he doesn't want to say anything because he's afraid of what Luke's going to do to him if he says or does the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And like Luke is sitting there being like, "Oh, I know the coordinates where you're going," and he like just like lists them off, and then like one by one just like lists every single thing that happened at camp before they left, And they're just sitting there like, how do you, and Percy even says, I think, to him, like, how do you know all of this stuff already? You're not even there anymore. Chris Rodriguez isn't there anymore either. And they're just sitting there talking about how they're going to go back to camp and just slowly kill everybody. And it's just a really scary thing. And so to physically show him going in and out of camp like that, like, especially since Rick remembered that Backbiter is something that can make portals. It's like, how do you stop Luke from just jumping into camp whenever he wants to, when he can just make a portal anywhere and just jump in, like, talk to whoever he wants to talk to, find out whatever he wants to find out, and leave again before anyone even realizes that he's there.
Yeah.
And especially, yeah, it's just, he could basically do anything. Even before, like, all of the Battle of the Labyrinth stuff happens, he could do that whenever he wanted. That sucks.
Yeah.
And it's just, it makes it a lot harder for them to figure out how to keep everybody safe. Like, no wonder why Chiron's so stressed out all the time. And I will say there is also the added plot that we haven't mentioned yet about Tantalus. Tantalus, the actor who plays him, is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's so funny. But Tantalus as a character is, like, funny in the way that he's also, like, terrifying. Like, he literally tries to feed his dead children to the gods and then is like surprised when they horribly punish him. And I'm like, your punishment is actually, like, weirdly warranted. Like, the only person I can think of in Greek mythology that actually deserves the punishment that gods gave them. Like, oh my god, can an eagle eat your liver every single day? That would be fine. You just like cannibalize your own children just to, like, and he didn't even do it for a real reason. But there is also the, like, added plot that Tantalus and Dionysus are the ones in charge of camp when all these things are going on. Mm-hmm. And so when, like, with Luke could go in and out of camp so easily because they're basically not on his side, but on his side. Like, they, like, are fine with kicking out Chiron because they just think that he's annoying. And they basically cause mass chaos. They send Clarisse on the quest because they know that Percy is the one that should actually go. And they just want to, like, do the absolute wrong thing. Like, they may say that they're not on Luke's side, but they're, like, trying to be. Like, they actively are trying to be. And so, especially Tantalus is. He's basically, like, somebody there that's almost, you wonder, like, why they picked him. It makes you think that they, like, picked somebody that would, like, go towards, like, what Luke wants. And so during that time, that means that Luke would have much more free reign of camp because somebody that actually cares about the well-being and, like, livelihood of these children are not there. Neither of those people give a fuck about anybody at all. And so he could just, like, walk around in camp and be like, "What's up, guys? Do you like my lantern?" And like, nobody would be able to stop him because the only people that they can go to with authority is Dionysus, who hates everyone, and Tantalus, who would just, like, try to become friends with Luke if he's not friends with him already. I remember, like, reading Sea of Monsters, the book. We talked about how we speculated about if Luke, if Tantalus was part of, like, a overall plan of Luke's or something, or if he was part of it somehow and was, like, trying to help him in some weird way. They could expand on that if they want. It would be more fun if they don't, because Tantalus is just such a horrible, just absolutely terrible character.
Yeah, but he's someone who's angry at the gods too, so it would be an interesting twist to have.
Yeah, and he would be on, like, Luke's side of, like, oh, the gods hurt me. It's like, you killed your children for an experiment, like, just to see what the gods would do, just to see if the gods would be able to tell that you, like, are feeding them your dead children. That's the only reason you did that. And of course somebody like that would be like, the gods are horrible and they hurt people and they should let me eat food again. No. No, that's my favorite thing with Tantalus is the very end, when he finally is able to, like, grab some kind of food and he's about to eat it, is when he just, like, dissipates from camp because he's not allowed to be there anymore. He's like, God damn it. And I'm like, you deserve it. I should, like, go eat at a buffet and just have you watch it.
Oh my
because
gosh. Yeah.
somebody like that deserves to have that sort of like torture happening in like the absolute least. Um, but yeah, so I'm sure that at least at some point, if not before Comic Con, at Comic Con, they'll post more things and put stuff out like this and have
Yeah.
the time of their lives doing whatever and probably like randomly sneak some like casting news about Titan's Curse in at like 11:33 a.m. on a random Wednesday like they usually like do that stuff on like the most random days, which is what makes it fun.
Yeah.
You never know. Like I always think it's so funny that they just announced who Thalia was cast just on a random day because Rick just asked and they said that he could tell them.
Hmm.
That's just always so funny
Yeah.
that they
So,
just let them do that.
so probably in
Um,
the next couple weeks we'll see something interesting.
yeah. And other than that, yeah, I don't have anything else except for the one like note I made about Sea of Monsters theories is that I hope that Luke is wearing boat shoes.
Yep. Just the most preppy New Englander outfit ever.
Yep, like boat shoes and like a golf hat and like khaki shorts and it's just like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And they're like and I just hope that they sit there and like, "What are you wearing?"
Yeah.
Like what are you wearing? Like I remember in the book he makes some comment about what he's wearing to them like or something. It's just like like what are you doing? Is there like a dress code?